All right, guys, the guest you have all been waiting for. We get to talk to him a week late from his regular season Hail Mary win. Mr. Austin Dillon joins Stacking Pennies.
Hey, I'm so pumped to be on Stacking Pennies. It's been a long time coming. I wish I was in studio, but I live in Welcome, North Carolina, around nothing, so it's kind of a hike for me.
Well, that's I don't mind you zooming in. It's a nice backdrop you got, and also a lot of stuff going on within RCR. You got Justin Alexander announced this week he will not be returning to the 3-team. So how do you feel about that?
Justin, all my wins in the Cup Series have come with Justin. Somebody reminded me that this week, so it's kind of bittersweet. Justin's been a big part of my Cup career, and I think he was up front with us. Just he wanted more time with his family, and we want to keep him on here at RCR because he's done a lot of good things at our company, and he's just a good leader. So we'll see what comes of it all, and looking forward to the process of trying to find the next guy that can take the 3-team to the next level.
Man, how obviously Daytona's been pretty good to you. 500 win, now a Coca-Cola 400 win. But how did this one last weekend feel for you and the boys?
It was crazy. Obviously, you watch the replays of the wrecks that we were in and missed, and it was kind of one of those things like stuff just kept happening. I was down pit road backwards at one point. I drove in the pit box backwards, did a pit stop backwards, went a lap down, and we just kind of never gave up, and things just kept going our way, and made it through that big wreck and rain delay, everything that went along with that. That was a long time. I was freezing in that media center in a wet, sweaty suit, and then change suits and go back and win the race. It was epic. I mean, it was fun to be a part of to get into playoffs.
Did you get a tattoo?
No tattoo. We went to Missouri afterwards. The pit crew flew home and then flew up to Missouri. I flew with Johnny Morris on his plane. I gave him the trophy for waiting on me. I said, "Hey, this is yours." And we went to their place there at Big Cedar, and we were going to golf at Paynes Valley on Sunday, but obviously we got rained out. So we played the other courses, and it was a good old time. And you know what happens when you go golfing and it rains, usually you go back to the bar. So you can imagine from there.
Wait, you bought the whole pit crew?
We brought the whole pit crew, man.
Blaney never does cool shit like that.
Talk to your
I'm
boy.
over it. I'm firing off a text message right now.
3 boys are signed up for 5 years. We look after them boys.
A lot of tickets being had on pit road and they've been top of the mechanics square rankings all year, man. What do you guys focus on? Obviously, track position out this next gen car seems to be more important than ever, and they've given you guys a fighting chance to go make a decent run here in the playoffs. So, are you proud of that pit crew so far this year, or what?
Oh, they've been a highlight for us all year. I feel like we've really kind of struggled unloading and showing speed some places this season, and we've kind of grinded it out, and the pit crew has been a big part of that, having to make a lot of adjustments and still put down some fast pit stops. And those guys are pretty much all homegrown here in Welcome, and we've had them since they were young and kind of developed them, and really proud that RCR gave them contracts and got them signed up, because that's a huge advantage. You know how important it is at the end of these races. I mean, heck, the 43 this past weekend at Darlington, I mean, that was a big win. That's one of our pit crews as well. And, that was a reason I feel like that Eric was able to, clutch that race at the end, get that track position.
Man, you've been obviously apart from the entire start of your Cup career has been with RCR, but how much of the leadership meetings are you in now, as opposed to there's competition meetings and there's leadership meetings? Are you sitting in some of those and putting in your advice and just some commentary in those meetings yet?
I'm in a lot of different meetings, from marketing. Truthfully, the biggest meetings I'm in now is the PBR team meetings. I've gotten put in general manager position for that. And my grandfather's kind of thrown me in that to try to see how I handle, leading a business in that aspect. But the team side and like the speed side, I guess, things from the racing, I just drive, I let Andy Petrie, Eric Kominick, the crew chiefs, focus on that. We do our sim sessions during the week, and I communicate with them what we thought of the race cars over the weekend. But, I'm in a lot of different meetings, but, we've got some really good people here, and try and, trust them with the speed secrets.
not the first playoff race result you wanted. You mentioned before we jumped on here, said anything but Darlington. But I'm sitting here looking at the points, man. You're not in that bad of shape. You're only down 4 to the cut line, going to Kansas, going to Bristol. So you got to feel pretty decent about your shot still.
No, I feel good about it. I mean, we gained, and that's what you want to do. We gained on the position we were in. We're not 16th. We're 14th, I believe. So, and only a couple out of, the transfer spot. Truthfully, all that matters is beating 4 guys. And that's what we're focused on, is trying to survive in advance, beat those 4 guys. And, you saw me. I was backing up as fast as I possibly could in that first stage. And the parachute was out. We kept digging, though. Luckily, the cautions fell at the right time. And we were able to fight back, kind of scrap back, keep ourselves on the lead lap, but never just, I couldn't turn it up the hill in turn 1, fighting a big bounce into turn 3. It was all kinds of stuff, but we battled. I didn't do anything real dumb and take myself out of it. So that's a good part. And then we'll go to Kansas and just fight it out.
You mentioned the Carolina Cowboys. You've been doing a lot of work behind the scenes on that, but you're actually the promoter for this event coming up this weekend. Tell us some folks about it.
Yeah, if you guys are in North Carolina this weekend or anywhere close, Winston-Salem at the LJVM Coliseum, Friday, Saturday night, it's the PBR teams. If you've been to a PBR event, this is a little different. It's the first time we've had team setting. So you go 5-on-5 against a different team. North Carolina has their own franchise, the Carolina Cowboys. The riders are coming in town a little early to promote. A couple of my guys are throwing out the first pitch at the Hickory Crawdads, I think, tonight. One's at the Dash tomorrow. But yeah, we're fired up. We won the last event in Austin, Texas. Actually, the weekend we won Daytona, the Cowboys won in Austin, Texas. So it was a really good weekend for us, and trying to do it at our home event. So if you guys want to come cheer us on, bring that home field advantage to the PBR teams event at the LJVM Coliseum. You get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
Ooh, get your tickets.
Get a lot of tickets. We know where to get the tickets.
So we know how those boys practice at pit practice. We saw that. But what does bull riding practice look like for the boys?
So we had a training camp before the team series started. We had 12 guys come in. At Jerome Davis's, he's up the road from me about 15 minutes in Archdale. And, when you practice on a bull, you want to get paid if you're ever going to get on a bull. I went to the World Finals and watched. I showed up and I'm trying to scout these riders. And I've been putting a lot of time into watching video and talking to Jerome. And I show up I think, second chance Austin Dillon, maybe, he's a bull rider. First night there, right? And second go around. Well, after night 2, about 10 riders in, I see the number 1 guy get stepped on, break 2 ribs, puncture lung. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think you can pay me enough to get on one of those things. And the guy walks on the stage 2 nights later after he was in the hospital to accept the first overall draft pick. And they're just different. These guys, there's a different kind of tough. I try not to complain in front of them, try and act tough. And I'm like, yeah, my neck hurts a little bit from this. Well, I got 14 plates in one of my guys' legs. So I can't say anything.
So you've never been on one?
No, I don't plan on it.
You ever gotten to the pen, what do they call that? Where they give the head nod and the chute. You ever sat on one in the chute yet?
I haven't sat on one in the chute, but I did come up with this training camp, right? I'm back on this story. Because they don't like to practice, we wanted the guys, if they wanted to practice, we had practice bulls there. We had an ambulance, we had the people there to, everything we needed. But some of them had just gotten done from the main series, the UTV, and they didn't really need a tune-up. So what we wanted to create some trust with them, we're like, hey, everybody's riding the first day. And some of the guys weren't real happy about it. They're like, hey, don't really want to practice. And we're like, oh, you're going to. What we did is we pulled them all down to the house and brought them up one by one to the arena. They all had to get ready, get on the bull. They got on the bull. They nod their head, and then our coach, Jerome, would say, hey, you don't have to ride. You can get off. And they were like, what do you mean? Get off. You're not riding today. It was called the Ghost Ride. So we videoed him. Actually, Dillon Wilson, we were talking about him earlier. He was doing the video. And so we watched them go through their whole routine, and we just wanted to watch, how they handled, adversity, getting on the bull. The bull in a chute will move around, buck. They get all kinds of crazy, and some guys handle it differently. And we just wanted to have that video for them, say, hey, this is a ghost ride, kind of tell us what you thought about it. And they could write notes about, what they did on that day. And a lot of the guys liked it. They said they'd never done that. Like, you know, go that far to get ready, nod your head and say, hey, get off. And I had one guy, he was like ready to fight. Like, he's like, when I get on this far, like I have to fight.
Like the blue balls of bull ride. I was sitting here trying to think of a would you rather. Would you rather race the Southern 500 with no AC and no cool shirt, or attempt to ride a bull? I don't know if you can live doing either.
Yeah, I don't know. I got drug out of the car at Mount Martinsville when I knocked the crush panel out last year. I'm just trying to think back of like how awful that was. Like, it was decently cool at night. If you could get to the night portion, I think you could possibly make it. I think I'd take the race car, truthfully.
At least you
know,
can control the
Stenhouse
race
got
car.
on 2 bulls.
Did he?
Stenhouse has been on a bull. Yeah, 2, I think.
I wish there was some video to
I can
watch
see
that.
that.
I can see that.
He said the most painful part of it was your groins, like clenching, and then most of your injuries from bull riders come from their groins. They tear groins, and that's the stuff they get.
No, thank you. So 2 questions we ask all the guests. One, what's the most embarrassed you've been at the racetrack?
Well, multiple times. I would say one that sticks in my mind is Indy. They do driver intros there, and you walk down the stairs, and it was drizzling rain, and I had Sparco has these little rubber booties that you put on when it rains, and it was those metal bleacher stands, and I got like, you know, all those fans are sitting right there, even in it, and it's drizzling rain, they're hanging out, and I got 3 away from like the flat part of the bottom of the stairwell, and just right out from underneath. People laughing. It was great. And then I tell you, the other one was probably I threw up in a race car, truck series. I won the race at Nashville and did the slide and kind of did that whole scorpion thing the first time. It didn't really work out because I hit the paint, and I was so jacked up I couldn't get my adrenaline down or whatever. And I went back to the car and I threw up in the door of the car, and it was all on the in-car camera. So they played it in front of the shop at RCR, the replay of it at the Christmas party.
Yes.
Throwing up in front of everybody. So that was probably one of those.
I'm glad you brought the slide up, because I feel you have since adjusted your takeoff. You went with the side roll as opposed to the face forward on the stomach. Why is that?
It was lack of commitment, truthfully. The guys came out there and they were like, hey, we got to slide. And I'm like, I really didn't want to. And I was like, well, it's wet, so it'll work good. I said, we can't go to the paint. And then I got over to it, and it was time to belly flop out there, and I didn't commit. So I just shoulder rolled, and it looked way worse. I was like, man, that was lack of commitment there.
Well, it also didn't do very well because you had a white suit on that was brown the rest of the rest of your victory lane festivities. But man, congrats on Daytona. I wish you guys luck. But one last question before you go: if you had to pick one race car and one racetrack to race at the rest of your life, what do you go with?
Oh man, one racetrack to race. And you know, Darlington is one of my favorite places, and it just tortured me the other night. So I'm not going to say that. I tell you, super late model Eldora was pretty fun. That would have to be up there, and then Homestead, Cup car, and it would probably be like when we were pulling the side skirts out and stuff on pit stops, like tons of downforce and big power at Homestead. That was pretty fun.
Yep. Those are 2 good options. 2 of the options we never heard before either on the show.
Yeah.
So there you have it. Austin, Dillon, make sure you guys go this weekend. Check out the Carolina Cowboys up there in Winston-Salem. Promoter, race car driver, anything else you need. And you get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Austin, Dillon, thanks for joining Stacking Pennies.
Thanks, guys.